Hey, it's Socket Man here again. I am starting the engine teardown, or to continue the engine teardown. And I've run into a little bit of a snag. The clutch is all out. The clutch plates are here. A number of them were kind of frozen / seized together. The oil over the years have obviously kind of changed composition or whatever. They'll all have to be all cleaned up. Doesn't look like there's a lot of wear on the friction on the steel plates. The friction plates seem to be pretty good too. There's one friction plate inside here that's still stuck in. That'll have to come out after I get the clutch basket off. The clutch basket's loose now. The primary drive chain is a continuous chain, so it does not come off until the engine sprocket in behind here comes off. To do that, I need to get the alternator off of here, so the windings will pop off with three nuts. The problem is these nuts and these cutaways on the armature windings are so tight. I can't get a socket in there, a normal size socket. So, and I don't have to. I have broken them, so they are, you know, almost loose, shall we say, with the old Whitworth wrench here. So I need to go get a 9/16 1/4" drive socket, which should have a fairly thin wall to it, and then take it to the grinder and trim it down a little bit further, and I'll be able to slide it in between this little gap here and get that fricking nut off. And the one on the bottom is the same situation. I've got it moving just barely with the wrench, so they're not seized or anything, but I can't get it off. This one's obviously nice and open, so it can come off. So once the armature windings come off, then the armature itself, I've already cracked this nut here is loose, so then the armature pops out itself off the crankshaft. And then I'll have access to the sprocket that's in behind, and I've got a multitude of sprocket pullers, or various pullers, so hopefully one of my complement. This is a Norton puller, which I think is actually for the main engine, the crankshaft sprocket. Anyway, certainly one of those guys hopefully will work for that. And then when I take the sprocket off, then the sprocket comes out in the clutch basket all at the same time, and the primary chain will come off with it. And the adjuster is down here at the bottom that adjusts the tension on the chain, and that will come out as a separate assembly. So there we have it for now. I'm a little stalled on the left side, so I'm going to come over to the right side of the engine and start tearing down this section. As I mentioned before, the gearbox is a separate assembly. It's just bolted on the back of the engine with 4 big bolts here. So that's going to come apart and be a separate sub-assembly, and then I'll take the timing cover off, and there's a timing chain inside of there for the push rods, and obviously the end of the cam here is the points, etc., from a firing coil standpoint. So next is going to take those covers off and see if I can start at least loosening up and getting this gearbox ready to come off. The neutral finder will have to come off to be chromed, and I can start at least tackling some of these frigging straight slotted screws and the Phillips heads to see if I can get those all off. Anyway, that's it for now. There's a quick update. Cheers. Socket Man here again. Quick little update. I was back in business briefly. I have the alternator now out and the armature off. I had a metric 1/4" drive socket that fit over that nut quite nicely, so I took it to the grinder and tore her down, or brought it down diameter wise, and was able to slide it in there and get those nuts off. So I was back in business briefly, and now I'm back out of business because I've got to get that honking nut off of there, which is about 2 inches and a 1/16. And there's a special Royal Enfield tool that they use to take that off with. And in case you hadn't noticed, I'm not a authorized Royal Enfield dealership service department. So I will need to figure out what I'm going to do with that, whether I get a big wrench or a large socket or something along those lines. So everything looks pretty decent in here. The wear is normal on the chain tensioner there. The grooves wear down until the rollers are actually rubbing on there and it doesn't really wear any further. So everything looks pretty slick and clean in here. We'll see what I can do to get that monster nut off. Cheers.